I'm Molly.
Welcome to Forensic Gameology, hosted by MoonlightCrew.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less.
Thunderstone Advance Numenera expansion.
And base set.
And base, yeah, because it's a standalone. It's just a standalone Thunderstone game. And so what it comes with, or the theme of it, is Numenera. So it's kind of futuristic instead of fighting old world fantasy monsters. It's new sci-fi. So it's futuristic things we're dealing with. And it adds a couple new things. One of the new things that it's going to add. So again, if you haven't watched a Thunderstone review, go watch Thunderstone review so you know the base game. It's a deck building game where you buy cards and fight monsters. And what this one's going to add are these tokens. So each player is going to get a token if there's only 2 heroes that need them are out, and we actually have them out. And so what it says place a marker on a monster in the hall. So there's going to be some monsters here, and you can place a marker on them. When someone attacks that or chooses to attack it, you might be able to do something if you have that card in your hand. It says react, gain an XP for if a hero selects your monster to fight.
Or increase the monster's health.
Yeah, or increase the monster's health, making it harder for other players. It's a little bit more interactive when you put these on there. The second thing that's a big difference are these XP. I don't know if you can see the different colors. In other base games, there are only gray. They don't do anything except to help you level up your heroes. And in this one, I'm sorry, I never moved that. In this one, they do different things. I think blue draws you a card. There's some that gain you light. So you have to discard them, and they do different things besides just leveling up
Magic
your heroes.
attack, physical attack, adding gold, destroying cards.
Yeah. And you can still level up your heroes with them. So it's pretty cool. And so that's the basic things that are different from other Thunderstone Advanced games. So simplicity versus complexity.
The complexity goes a tiny bit up because of what we just talked about. Having to remember what all of these do, which one does, because you get these at random, so then you're like, oh, wait, does this one add physical attack or magic attack? Some of the cards are a little bit more wonky and crazy. We'll get into that in a second. But I'd say overall it's very similar to any other Thunderstone you've played, and you'll be able to pick it up and go right in.
Yeah, I would say this is it's a deck building game, so if you're familiar with those, it'll be pretty simple. But the one thing that does bother me is that they didn't give any kind of player aid for these, and so it's in the middle of the rule book on some obscure page in tiny font. So you've got to pass that around or yell, "Hey, what does the blue do?" And there are like 6 different colors, so it's hard to remember them along with everything else you remember. So that's a tiny bit of complexity, but it's not that much more complex than any other Thunderstone Advance. Luck versus strategy.
I mean, there's a little bit lucky because these are different now and you're drawing them randomly out of the bag. There's going to be a little bit of luck there, but I think for the most part, this follows the same amount of luck versus strategy as any other Thunderstone, especially Thunderstone Advance, in that you can still prepare, you can still rest and destroy a card out of your hand, which is so huge in that even though it tanks your turn, it can really it can thin out your deck and thus give you you can mitigate the luck and just have a lot more strategy. So I think it straddles the same line as it always has and has a good balance.
I would agree. The luck is definitely there as in any deck building game, anything with cards. What comes off the top, can you get it? Is it an ambush? Are you going to get attacked? But there's a good, healthy amount of strategy in, like Tom said, what order you choose to do things. And what you choose to build your deck with, good cards or not good cards. So fun versus boring. I think this game is super fun. I really like the addition of these different XP because XP are really helpful in the beginning to level up heroes in other Thunderstone games. To level up heroes, but then towards the end you just keep on getting this XP and it doesn't mean anything. And so you just have tons of XP. It's a tiebreaker, but that's very rare. They're going to go to ties. And so it doesn't mean anything. But with these, it means something. And you're like, okay, which one do I want to get rid of? When you level up, or I'm going to use this, and I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to use this physical attack. Oh, this requires magic attack. I'm going to use 1 magic attack. And so it's a way to have these be useful in the end. So I find that to be super fun and add strategic depth to the game that is already pretty strategic. So I think it's pretty fun.
The 2 additions we talked about, I think, are great. I love picking the heroes that put out these tokens. It does make the game so much more interactive, and I really appreciate that. The tokens are awesome. Like Molly said, instead of just getting a huge stack of XP at the end of the game, you're constantly using them, constantly strategizing, trying to figure it out. There are some awesome cards in here. What do we got here? This guy says, you cannot defeat this card with 10 or higher total attack value. But he's a 7. So if you go in there with your entire party of your whole deck set up and it's just ready to rampage, you can't beat him. And then there's some that say they have to have exactly 8 to beat them.
Yeah.
You have to tune that hand
right.
perfectly.
And with the light penalties and all that, that's ridiculous.
It's so difficult, but I think that really makes it fun. I think you had one you wanted to talk about.
I forgot to mention. So there are some here that it says immune to magic attack or physical attack, whichever is higher. So that means you've got to have. I mean, he's only a 6, but you're talking if he's in the third one, the third spot in the dungeon, he's a 12, and you've got to figure out. You've got to have enough of both. And then this one is the opposite. And so this one is whichever one is lower it's immune to. So it's a little bit easier because you can just throw one of these and be like, okay, magic attack +1, and I'm going to use my physical attack. But talk about just changing up strategy a little bit that I haven't seen in other Thunderstones. I think it's super fun.
I've never played the Numenera RPG, so I don't know how this compares or adds the theme or represents very well, but I think this is super fun. And on the Board Game Geek rating system, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. It's as any other Thunderstone, I always want to play. I'll shuffle this into any of them. Always have a good time.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. A little less likely to suggest it, but I'm always willing to play. Every time we get to multiples of 500 subscribers, we give away free glitter painting of your favorite superhero icon. So subscribe now.
Because it could be you that wins.
Thunderstone Advance Numenera. We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.